Okay, cool. So, all right, so let me go clear my screen here so I can do that better. And all right, so real quick, I know we didn't talk about polynomial regressions, interactions, and I even have a little example of like a walkthrough. I'm gonna save this for next week. I will just quickly tell you polynomial regressions, interactions. This is parts of section 20. It's a lot easier than it sounds. Basically, it's the same exact thing as linear regression, but we're combining features together. So I think I'm gonna pull this off because this is kind of like, you want to be able to do this part first with like cross-validation, multiple linear regression, and then you can talk about interactions and stuff like this and how to find those things. But we're not going to start the project until like the end of next week. So that's why I'm kind of like holding off. I'm not worried for you guys. Okay, cool. So let me stop sharing my screen here. And let me share my screen for, where's my Kaggle competition? Okay, so while I pull this up here, cool. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen now. Where are we? There we go. Okay, so I'll be frank too, is that, oh, first of all, are you guys cool if we go over a little bit? Like it's gonna be past the hour. You guys go with that? Okay, if you do have to go, I will record this, but if you can stick around, great. Okay, so real quick, to be frank, I've never done I never hosted a Kaggle competition with a cohort before, so you guys are having a little like test bin and everything. I think you guys would have fun with it too. This is definitely going to be kind of a little extra fun thing. This is actually why I asked you guys to sign up for the pair programming, what's it called? The pair programming sign up and everything like that. So I'm gonna ask you guys, only 8 people signed up, and I think everyone who signed up for it, well, let's hear, I think Carl, I don't think you signed up for it. That's the only person I think.
No,
Were you planning to be? Okay.
I'm still thinking about it, I'm not sure.
Okay, I know some people are at different spots too, so like, and I know Carl too, like, for the record, I hope you don't mind me sharing. I know Carl had already done linear regression project, so he's actually gonna kind of flip-flop and do the Mod 1 project. So, you guys can help him, and then he can help you guys too, maybe. But if you aren't part of the pair programming participant kind of thing, you can just go off of like, participating for fun and just doing your own. The reason why I did the pair programming things that way I can match you guys well. And I realized I have, let's hear, I think I have my signups here. I try to make it so that you guys can be groups of 2 to 3. And I realize I don't have it up here, so let me go pull it up. Okay, here we go. I know you guys can't see the screen because I'll pull it up. Okay. All right, so my groups that I have, this is just based off of timing, a little bit of randomness. Most of them are groups of 3. I have Christine, Nadine, and Stephen Turk all in one group. And then I have Mike, Jeffrey, who's not here, Alvaro as one group. And then I have Jessica and Andy as one group. Okay, and I'll share this on Slack too, just so you guys can remind, so you guys can get the grouping together. But what we're gonna do is, what I want you guys to step 1 is to create a Kaggle account on Kaggle.com. And for the record, it's pronounced Kaggle. I know there's another word that sounds very similar to this. It's not pronounced that. Kaggle with a short A, if that makes sense. I just want to let you guys know that. Anyway, oh, fun fact, the reason why they came out with Kaggle was literally the person, the data scientist who created this, was literally just like trying out different combinations, like wrote a program to try different combinations of letters and stuff and see which ones were already taken. And Kaggle was one that sounded like, sounded good enough. They weren't a native English speaker, or at least, I can't remember if they're native English speaker or if they just had an accent that like it had pronounced differently. They said, oh, probably would have called it something else if they had a chance. Anyway, so your step number 1 is to create a Kaggle account. So Kaggle.com, and I'll send you guys, well, you guys know how to type. I don't need to send you guys links. Kaggle.com. Okay. And once you create that account, I'm going to, let's see if I have this right. Actually, does anyone have a Kaggle account right now by chance? Cool. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and send you guys, sorry, this is because you won't see this exactly. Sorry, there we go. Copy this guy. I'm going to send this on the chat. I think you should only need, I'm just changing it over so I can make, I don't have to share it to everyone. So There you go. So if you have a Kaggle account, go ahead and see if you can log into it and then see if you can access that specific link I shared on the Zoom chat. So while you guys do that, you should be able to add in. Otherwise, I think I might have to actually add you guys to it. But we'll see how that goes. But anyway, once you go there, you should see that there's a little bit of an overview, data, notebooks, discussion, leaderboard, all this good stuff. So description, I wrote it real quickly. It's going to be a regression project. It's actually based off of another data set, but I kind of slimmed it down a little bit and just made it, a little bit straightforward, a little more straightforward. But basically just a practice thing. And the idea here is that you want to create a model that's going to do, basically do the best job to make predictions, okay? So you're going to use linear regression, since that's the tool that we know how to make predictions with. You could, in the future, for other competitions like that, you can use whatever machine learning model you want, but we're going to stick with linear regression. And we're going to evaluate, say, how well you do based on your model's predictions in the RMSE, so root mean squared error. And so what's kind of cool about this is that whenever you create these like submission files and stuff like based on your model, you upload this onto Kaggle, and Kaggle is going to compare it to basically, you can kind of imagine it like a test set, right? That you never seen before, like you don't know the actual answers to it, and it'll tell you how well you did. All right, real quick, has anyone able to get to this thing? Give me a thumbs up if you guys did. Cool, so you guys used the link and it was good. You can join the competition. Awesome, cool, that makes it easy for me. All right, so you can kind of explore a little bit. The data itself, I actually pulled it from this data set on Kaggle here. So this is the full data set here, but I just kind of slimmed it down a little bit, changed it up. And you can see here is that the data itself is in two files. We have our test set and our train set. So you notice that the train set has 13 columns. Basically, you have all these different features. And so I kept most of those features in there, but I took out a couple that are probably not relevant for you. I kept a couple of things like the host name, which probably, I don't know if you can train against that, but you can maybe, I kept in there just for fun. But at least there's a bunch of numerical stuff. And basically Kaggle is showing you all these different values here very quickly, just to kind of look at what this, what the different columns are and how they're, if they're strings or if they're integers or if they're floats. And they also show you a little bit about the distribution itself. In this case, unique value, since it's a string here. And at the end here is the price. So the price is our actual target. So your idea is to take basically all of these features, all of these 12 different features, well, maybe you don't use all 12, and use that to predict how much this, Airbnb listing is going to cost, right? So you can see here like $380, right? And so your job is to predict this thing. This is your target. So you can see that's the training CSV here. And this is the thing that you're going to use to train. You might use cross-validation with this, for example. So you might do a little holdout set to kind of practice and stuff like this. And you want to train your linear regression using this data to see if you can predict this, well, you use that to do the best job you can do to predict this price. And then what you do is like, okay, I think I got a good model. We did cross-validation. I think we have a good model that does a pretty good job, in generalizing at this. Then what you do, so your model, let's say, has like, all these different coefficients, right? So you have your model. You can then take this test.csv, and you notice that there's only 12 columns in here. And that's because there is no price in here. This basically, you take these features in here. You're not training off of them, but you're taking the model that you already trained, feed those features in there. And so for each data row, you'll get one, make one prediction. So like you take this data right here, and this data says, oh, it's going to be $272, based on your model. And so what happens there, you're going to have basically at the very end, what ID it is, basically what room it is. So the ID there. And then another column that's going to be your prediction. So like the price of that thing. And what's cool is that you just submit this prediction right here, since we don't know what the actual price is. And when you submit it, it will submit it on Kaggle. And I'll kind of show you guys what this looks like. Let's see here. The problem is the leaderboard's really small, and then you can see my score right here. Well, I was just messing around. You have the public leaderboard where basically only 80% of the test data will be on here. And you can submit, I put it up to 5 times a day. So you can submit up to 5 times a day, and it refreshes over every day. And you can see your how well you do. And your score is based on the root mean squared error. So remember, root mean squared error is going to be related to your R squared error. So you'll be like, it'll be pretty close. Like if you get a better R squared value, you should get a better, root mean squared error. And so I put a little benchmark here. This sample submission is literally if you pick, let's see here. I think I put it as if you just made it the average of your training data. So if you took the training data and didn't look at any of the features and said, oh, what's the average of the price? It's $151, I think. And you just said, okay, for every ID, just predict $151. This would be your score right here. So you can try that out if you want. So your goal is to hopefully do better than this. This is kind of your benchmark, right? So if you're doing worse than this, it's probably not a good sign. You probably, I'm guessing my models are like really, really good, but it's not. My guess is that you can probably do pretty well with just one feature with this. So you would submit this guy, and this will be the public leaderboard. So we'll actually see different teams and stuff like that be able to like see how they compare with each other and stuff. And it's a little competition. And then when the end of this competition ends, we have a private leaderboard, and the private leaderboard is basically going to use 20% of the testing data that I already submitted up there. So and it will test your predictions. So you already submitted your predictions and stuff like this. It'll take the 20% that it hadn't shown you yet, and it will use that to finally evaluate. So in this case, you can see a little bit, I don't think you'll be able to see this on, what's it called? On your side. So it's kind of like I'm the host, but you'll see the public leaderboard. You can see the public leaderboard is 2.77. It turns out my private board, I actually did better on the private side. That 20% just happened to be a little bit better. That's pure chance. Most likely, as you guys do this better and better, your private leaderboard is probably going to do worse, in the final part. But this won't be released until the end of the competition. Does that make sense? And this is what's really going to be judged as being, oh, who did the quote unquote best? Again, it's just for fun, but a little competition never hurts. So does everyone kind of understand a little bit like what's going on? And I'll show you like how this actually works. Any questions so far though? Okay.
So the submission is just the actual predictions, right? We submit the predictions, and then and they should come out pretty close to whatever has already been, whatever the model that we're comparing it to is.
Right. Yeah. So you'll use the trained data to basically train your model. You'll get the coefficients for your linear regression, for example, and then you'll feed in the test data, right? This test.csv data, feed that into your model that you've already trained, and that will output a prediction. And then you'll use those predictions for the public and private leaderboard. Yeah, cool.
I didn't. So on Kaggle, you can create your own private competitions?
Yeah.
That I didn't know.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. It's called an in-class competition, if you guys are wondering.
I've heard of that, but I didn't realize that's what they meant.
It won't count for like, you won't win any money.
No, I know.
Points and stuff, but it's a good practice and stuff. So I'm going to show you guys how to submit these predictions. So let's just pretend, well, would you guys like to see like how I can download this stuff and like actually use it? Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so this might be like the full, let's see here, 3 minutes. Okay, this is actually, I was messing around with this, so this is good. You can see there's all the submissions in here. So I'm just going to show you my submission. And you can see here in this case, I'm just saying, oh, here's the ID. So this is the ID of each, let's see here, go back to the data real quick. You can see this is like the first ID here, the second ID. This is for the test stuff. Your submission will look like ID, price, like this, and then you'll have the ID number and then your prediction. In this case, I literally just put 50 for each single time. Okay, so you might, for example, like this, obviously you're not going to like literally type out, like these different parts. You'll use your data, you'll use your model to basically make predictions and then put this in there. Maybe we can go over that. But once you have this my submission set, you can go ahead and click submit predictions, and you basically just upload a submission file. So in this case, it was my submission. Okay, so just kind of quickly show you guys. Oh, I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you guys see this little preview? Okay, good. I wasn't sure if you guys could. But you see that little preview, so the ID and then the price range here. You see it's all 50s, so really easy stuff. So I'm gonna submit this guy. And then I'll go out here. And then you can give a little note here, for example, like, oh, basic prediction, all 50, right? So basically I'm saying, oh, everything's 50. And just this for your own tool. And then you submit this, and then if everything works out fine, it should score it. If it, for some reason, wasn't formatted well, it will tell you, hey, this wasn't formatted well, or like, hey, there's a mistake, and you have to like, figure out what's going on here. But it shouldn't take too long, like less than like a minute for sure. I don't know why it's taking a little bit longer than normal. I just like that. So you call this big data because it's very, very small. But once it does this, it should give you a score of like how well this submission goes through. So I'm going to give it another second, but otherwise I'm just going to open up here. So once it submits through, oh yeah, Jessica, go ahead.
Or I can ask the question at the end when you're done.
Okay. All right. So once it goes through here, you will see that you have my submissions. I don't know why it's taking so long. But you'll see here is that I have my, well, in this case, you can see it's my private score or public score and private score. You're not going to see private score. I think this is because I'm a host. But you'll see like your submission. For example, I just did the same thing over time, and you'll see your score for the public score. And then you can just select up to 2 of them. So you might have 2 different models, for example. At the very end, you can submit 2 of your different models. For example, I'll use these 2 different models, and those will be the used ones for the final like scoring. And this will appear on the leaderboard. And I don't think it shows up because I am, what's it called? I am the host, but it should show up here, and you would actually see your team name on here and see how well how well you did. And so the idea there is to try to get the smallest score possible, right? Because you want the root mean squared error to be as small as possible. So the smaller it is, the better. Okay. Cool. All right, and then Jessica, go ahead.
Thanks. I have a question on when this will be due as far as prioritizing it, because I'm on section 19 and I want to finish, like if I finish 19 and 20 and still have space before the project starts, I'd be down to do this. But if I'm kind of crammed, I maybe would want to prioritize it like after the project. What's the due date going to be on this?
Yeah, so the reason why I'm doing this is so you guys can use this as kind of preparation, talking to each other before you guys do a similar project for the module project. So I want to ask you guys this. Right now I have it 11 days to go, which I think if I can just click host, I can actually, when it ends. So I have it ending at 4/27, which is, let's see here, the Monday that we're supposed to start the project. So I was going to ask you guys, would you guys prefer to have this? I think I personally want to end it before you guys actually get into your module project, because that's the thing that you're going to have to focus more on. So would you guys like this date to be earlier? This is, I think it's literally the Monday that we would quote unquote start our project week. Any thoughts? 4/27 sound pretty good, or? Go ahead.
For me, like, I don't know what Andy's schedule is, or, this. I mean, this is what, like 11 days, or wait, 11 days out. So that's a good amount of time. Well, actually, that's probably plenty of time. But yeah, my concern is I just want to finish like 19 and 20 before I start on this. So
yeah, absolutely. And that's something you can talk about with your team too. So Jessica, in this case, you and Andy are paired up, right? So you guys can talk about saying, okay, maybe the next 4 days or 5 days, we're not going to touch this right now for us to finish up. You can even have, maybe someone's like, oh, I'm already done with this section, or I want to kind of just try it out, and they can start trying it out, and then you can kind of join in a little bit afterwards too. So
sweet. Sounds great.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I hope this will be a little fun for you guys. And also it gives you a little something that there's a lot of good Kaggle competitions and different data sets, and kind of just get used to this. On here as well, you'll see like the overview. You can also add notebooks, for example, if you want to share and stuff like this, like what you've already done. So you can take your Jupyter notebook and actually upload it. You can actually work directly on Kaggle. There's also discussion threads. This is probably less of a thing because we have Slack and we all kind of know each other's cohort, but it's kind of good to practice. For example, I just put a little discussion thread here and you can talk about it, or you can create a new topic and talk about it. So kind of play around with it. Only you guys in the cohort should be able to see this. So you don't have to worry about like saying like, it's like, oh, I don't want to I don't want other people to see what I'm doing, or future employers or whatever. This is always going to be private. So that way you guys don't have to worry about, just kind of playing around and stuff. And if it goes well, maybe we do this in the future too, as kind of a pair programming project, as we do more machine learning and stuff like this, where you guys can work in groups and stuff. And it's new for me too. So, honestly, if you guys like, what, this is not working out, like at the end of this, you're like, there's a distraction or there's things we can improve, let me know, and then we can kind of figure out what to do. So yeah, cool. Any other questions, anything about this or going forward? No? Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I was reading some articles online about data scientists who had like it was from a data scientist who had done a coding boot camp and then gone on to work. And she said that the pair programming projects, it was like in the beginning, you know, nobody really wanted to do them, but she said that it was like one of the most beneficial things that she did, like for when she went like into her job.
Yeah, definitely. I think learning from each other and like learning how other people think too in this process is really helpful. And you guys get to teach each other too. And honestly, like most data science positions are not going to be you by yourself, you know, doing your work. Obviously, you guys are online. Of course, now everyone's online since, you know, everything going with COVID right now. But it's good practice, you know, to see how you can work with other people and stuff like that. And the, you know, hopefully, in, you know, as we get out of like coronavirus and everything like that too, when you're working with someone, you'll probably be in a closer proximity, but you still want to have to like know how to talk to each other and debug with each other and things like that. So I think it's good practice. I'm trying to bring this back a little bit for pair programming. Yeah, cool. Anything else? And then if no one has any questions, I'll show you guys how to kind of create a notebook on here, and maybe you can try that out real quick. Okay, all right. So I'm going to show you guys how to create a notebook. So I can create a notebook here and put new notebook. So I'm actually doing this directly on Kaggle. It's very similar to, what's it called? Jupyter Notebook, but you can also upload your, you know, you could just do all of the stuff on Jupyter Notebook. So you can download the data files. If you guys need help, just let me know, right? Ask each other. And you can do this directly on Jupyter Notebook. But if you didn't, you could also do this directly on Kaggle just to kind of try it out, something different. So you can see here setting up a session. So this is actually like another computer essentially. And so what's kind of nice if you do create a Kaggle notebook like this on this competition, you actually have the data already wrapped into here. So if you look at this closely, if I just do ls, I think I can see it. It's here. It's been a while since I've actually used a Kaggle competition for a while. So, okay. So let's see here. I want to make sure I got this right. Okay, so I believe this right here. Probably should have checked this out myself beforehand. Okay, so let's do PWD. So I'm just trying to figure out where I am first so I can help you guys out. Okay, working, Kaggle, working. So I want to go ls-input. Let's see if that shows the right thing. Okay, good. So if I want to load the data set, so you guys know like doing exclamation point ls, right, shows you your stuff, right? I'm going up one file, so I can actually see that that's where the input is right here. And you can see those are my data files. So I'm just going to go ahead and go straight for the gold, right? I'm just going to go ahead and read in this data. So I already have pandas imported. I'm going to do pd read CSV. And then let's see here. I want to go up to, oops, a little lag here today. All right, going up one, and then I'm going to go input, and then I'm going to go FIS. So that's the name of the competition. That's Flatiron School, right? All that extra stuff. And then I'm just going to read in the test.csv. So I'm just going to say df equals pd right here, and we'll just show it looked good. And like, okay, cool. So this is all the data. For example, you'll see that there's no pricing, right? So let's just pretend I'm going to do a really, really simple model because you guys will have a lot of fun being able to kind of train stuff like this. So if I want to create just a file that is going to be my submissions, right? So like it's going to have ID and then like a prediction, right, of price. So I'm going to call like df, let's see here. Let's say df submit. That's going to be equal to df, and I'm just going to grab the ID itself, right? So, and then just to check that I have this right. Oops, submit dot head. I should just have just IDs. There you go. So you can see here all my IDs, right? And then let's say I'm just going to add in now a new part in here. I'm going to put it down here. df price, and any guesses for price? I'm just going to make it the same all the way through. Give me a number, any number. No, no one's got a favorite number? All right, 27 it is. So $27.01. All right, so that's going to be my guess. And so if I have, oh, df submit. Submit. Sorry, I have a little bit of lag in here. I don't know why. So df submit dot head. And so if I see this now, this should be, oh, you know what it is? Because I did not, I'm trying to think this through. What did I do here? Oh, I think I see what happened here. Because this is, you wouldn't do it this way for the record, but I'm just doing something really quickly. This is not ideal, but I'm just gonna go with it. We're gonna say, what's a good number? Reviews. So I'm just grabbing 2 different columns. There we go. So we have reviews, and then I'm gonna say, why aren't you trying using the Outlook? Oh, did I not like this? Sorry, I think I'm using a different version of Pandas then. Submit dot head. Okay, good. And then I'm just gonna rename. So do you remember how to rename? I always have to look it up, but I think I can figure it out. Rename is going over to price. I think I can just do it like this. And then just to double check, df.submit.head. So now I should have, it didn't work. You don't know how to rename? Oh, you know what? I'm gonna do it the bad way. Oh no, it didn't let me do that. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll just look it up. So let's say,
I mean, it's long-winded, but you'd have like VDA curly bracket columns equal old column, new column.
Oh, columns. So
yeah, columns equal.
And then just
curly bracket still.
Curly bracket. Okay. Is that right?
I think so. Something a bit like that.
Let's try it. Hey, okay. So that's what I was missing. This guy. All right. So now we have my data frame in here, right? And so if I want to, now I have my nice data frame. That's my predictions, right? My really bad predictions. I can now say, okay, I actually never, well, okay. We're going to go df submit to CSV. Oops, oh my gosh. All right, and then we have the name of the CSV, so I'm just gonna go like my other submission dot CSV. And then one thing we can do, I'm so used to using Jupyter Notebook, I can actually set this, I wanna make sure the index is not like that 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, I just want the ID, right? So I can do index equals false. I think this is what I should have right here. So let's go ahead and run that guy. And there it goes. And if I do ls, oops, do ls, it should show here my other submission. So you can see here, right here. So I think, there we go. I'm just going to download it. So I know there's a way, like you guys can probably check this out. It's been a while since I've done a Kaggle competition. You can actually submit directly through here, but I don't remember how to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and download my guy right here. I'm going to go ahead and save this version. I'm going to save this as my smart predictions. So, and I'm going to make this available so you guys can see it too on like on this competition. But I downloaded the submission, you can see right here. So while this is submitting or going through their whole thing, it's going to run through, make sure it does that. I don't know why this is still holding. That's weird. Okay, you can see it completed. But now I'm going to go ahead and go to submit predictions, and I'm just going to go ahead, submit a file, and I'm going to specifically upload, oops. Sorry. I think I can just go like this. There we go, drag and drop. So my other submission, and that will upload and see like everything is 27.01. So now if I to make a submission here, it'll upload it and everything like that. Okay, that was a lot quicker. And you can see now if I go to the leaderboard, I think I don't know why mine doesn't show up. That's okay. You guys shouldn't have this issue. But if I go to my submissions now, you can see, for example, my other submission, which was everything is $27. My public score was not very good, 305, right? So I'm gonna say that's my fun guy. Yeah, so this is gonna be used for my final score. And you should be able to then see, I don't know if anyone's on Kaggle right now, they can see, I don't think on the leaderboard, you can see where I am. You should be able to, if we submit it. So I'll play with that if that doesn't come up. So, but yeah, and you can see here, my thing should be submitted. If I go, I'll make sure share, I wanna make sure it's public for you guys. So that way now, if you guys want to check real quick, whoever's on it, you could check notebooks on the competition. Do you guys see that the notebook's in here? It might be under public. I might have to play around with this to make sure. You guys see it? Okay, cool. So you can see a little bit like how you can actually generate this file. This would, you can also download a notebook and treat it like a Jupyter notebook as well. Okay, cool. Yeah, do you guys have any questions about this? Okay, cool. And again, you can do up to 5 submissions per day. You can make a team, so you can actually, if you guys message each other, you can actually find each other's team to make a team. Let's see here. I know I have this. I think you can actually, well, you guys can play around with it. I'm sure you guys can have some fun and play around. If you guys need help, though, definitely message out. And yeah, I think it'll be a little fun pair programming activity. And we'll stop the competition on the 27th. So maybe we can review it, maybe Wednesday check-in or something that week and stuff like that and talk about it. I think it'll be a lot of fun and everything. And let's see here. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I want to talk about for you guys. So next week on Tuesday, we'll actually go over Bayesian statistics, so section 17. So I want to make sure we do that. So that's going to be on Tuesday. And then on Thursday, we'll kind of finish up talking about linear regression with not linear regression, but polynomial regression, interactions and stuff like that. At that point, I think most of you guys would have gone through section 20 anyway, but it's kind of good to talk about it. And maybe we can talk a little bit more about the project in general. Maybe we can talk a little bit about Kaggle competition. So I think it'll be a little more relaxed stuff. Maybe I'll show you guys also how you can, I have an example of a linear regression. Actually, yeah, I don't have it up right now, but I'll give you guys a quick sneak peek what that looks like. I think this is the right one. Here we go. So we'll talk about this next week, probably Thursday, but I gave a really quick, like how you would create your linear regression and such and see how this works and stuff like that. So that way you can, it's very similar to how you would run like have your own like project. And also the Kaggle competition is gonna be very similar to that too. So of course the Kaggle competition is gonna be more about generating the right results. Your project's gonna be a lot bigger than that. Okay. All right, everyone. Well, I won't keep you guys any longer. Thank you guys for sticking around and everything. And yeah, I guess today's Thursday. So if I don't see you guys tomorrow, have a great weekend.
All right, you do as well.
Okay.
Everybody have a great one.
Bye.
We'll talk to Mike soon.